You are unmuted.
Good morning, everyone. This is February 5th, 2024 at 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the Nevada Tribal Emergency Coordinating Council meeting to order. This is Vice Chair Dave Fogerson. Mrs. Vegas, Harry Parker's new last name is, she got married between the last meeting and this meeting. So we'll have to update the agenda with Harry Vegas instead of Harry Parker. She's out sick today, so she asked me to take over and run the meeting today. I'd like to have the admin call the roll, please.
Harriet Parker.
Good morning, I'm present, and thank you, Chief. I really appreciate your help.
Absolutely.
Sukaki Charlie. Jackie Conway.
Good morning, everyone. Present.
Dwayne Masters Sr. Oh. He's just coming into the meeting, so I'll circle back to him. Don Pelt. Marian Perez.
I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you, Marian. Kenneth Coiner. Ross Rivera.
I'm here.
Daniel Thayer.
Here.
David Fogerson.
Present.
Emily Gold. Dwayne Masters Sr., are you present?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good morning.
Morning.
You have quorum.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Move to item number 2. This is public comment. It's discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the co-chairs. Comments will not be restricted based upon viewpoint. To provide testimony during this period of public comment via telephone, please call in any time after 8:30 a.m. on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID number, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press pound or hashtag. When prompted for a participant ID, please press pound or hashtag again. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. Please be advised that a YouTube stream will be between 60 and 90 seconds behind a live meeting. If you'd like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. Mrs. Whipple, any public comment given prior to the meeting?
No, there was not.
Okay, any public comment from meeting members? And Don Pelt, I see you here. Thank you, sir. Any public comment in Zoom? Okay, any public comment here in Carson City? Talkative group, this is a nice Monday morning. We'll drag our feet just a little bit so that way we can make sure that anybody on the YouTube world that like to make a public comment, they're going to hit *6 to unmute themselves and then provide public comment. Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to item number 3. This is the approval of the minutes. This is for discussion, possible action. NTECC will review and discuss the minutes of the November 1st, 2023 NTECC meeting. NTECC will determine whether to approve the meeting minutes. They should be in your packets. Does anybody have any changes to the minutes? Hearing no changes, I'd accept a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Ross Vera, I'll make that motion.
Ken Quire will second it.
First from Ross, a second from Ken. And we got you here at the meeting, Ken, so any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. Minutes are approved. We'll go on to item number 4. This is update from the U.S. Forest Service. This is discussion only with Ms. Navis, the Tribal Relations Specialist from the Forest Service. She'll update NTECC and activities related to the support of the Tribal Emergency Management. Ms. Navis, are you on this morning? Okay, it doesn't look like she's on, and we haven't heard from her, so we will table this agenda item. If she happens to show up later on, I will reserve the right to call this item back up. If not, we'll just keep it as a standing item for future meetings. Moving on to item number 5. This is Nevada Division of Emergency Management, Homeland Security's Tribal Equity and Engagement Framework. Provide NTECC an overview of the Tribal Engagement and Equity Framework. I wanted to put this back on the agenda because about a year ago, we developed this. We brought it to NTECC to talk about how we wanted to make sure we're working with our partners, and just wanted to make sure we highlighted it again for you to take a look at it, and always willing for any ideas, any opportunities to update that document, make sure that we're doing the right stuff for everybody. So it's in your packets for the meeting, and if anybody has any questions, comments, or thoughts, love to hear them, or you can talk to us offline or when we talk in the meeting. Okay, seeing no comments, we'll move to item number 6. This is a discussion on the status of Division of Emergency Management's effort to assist our tribal nations. I'm going to keep this on as a standing agenda item as we've talked about in the past. Just want to make sure that if you got ideas on how we can help serve you better and build that emergency management enterprise between collectively all of us, we're always ears and willing to listen to anything that you've got to say. Also love to hear about any feedback you might have on any of our employees or staff and how they're helping or hurting you. We want to know what we're doing we shouldn't be doing anymore, and we want to know what we're not doing we should be doing. So I'll open it up to discussion on by the committee. Okay, hearing nothing, I guess we must be perfect, which we know is a big lie, but anytime you got feedback, love to hear it. We want to make sure we're doing the right stuff for the entire state of Nevada. Move on to item number 7. This is update on tribal public health preparedness efforts with Emily Gold, and I believe that she has left state service as of last Friday, but is anybody on from public health preparedness? Okay, we are really not batting 1,000 today, are we? I'll table this one to see if anybody pops on from public health preparedness. And if not, we will follow up and make sure we have the right representative for public health preparedness. Item number 8, and this is good because Cliff wasn't sure if he'd be here or not. So this is an update from the Intertribal Council of Nevada with Cliff to give us his update. Cliff, I just saw you on the screen a second ago. Okay, Clifford dropped off, so we'll see about getting him back, but I just saw Emily pop back on. So Emily, are you there?
Good morning, Dave. I'm here.
Oh, good. You want to give us your update, please, ma'am?
Sure, yes. Thank you so much. Sorry for joining late. I was having some technical issues this morning, but just 2 quick things for everyone. So our big thing is the Rural Preparedness Summit that we hold annually is coming back this year. So this will be the 12th annual Rural Preparedness Summit. We're kind of changing things up a little bit. So this year, instead of in Fallon, we'll be holding this in Elko. So that's pretty exciting to have our Elko County support us in this. So this will be May 15th through the 16th, another 2-day thing. And It's the theme this year is Resources Without Borders. So we're looking to explore cross-border relationships with some of our preparedness, our health preparedness and emergency preparedness partners. So really looking forward to that. We're working on finding a tribal keynote speaker. So I've been working really closely with Josie Burnett on that. And hopefully we have some takers. I know she said there were a few interested parties. So if anyone else has suggestions or anyone you would like to put us in contact with, please let me know. And then another thing that we're working on is kind of our other main project right now is our 5-year strategic planning. So this is just kind of outlines our goals and objectives and activities that we would like to complete over the next 5 years with our local health partners. So Josie's been working very closely with that on us, as well as a tribal liaison. She's on almost every work group I believe we have. So once we kind of get more into the planning stages with these work groups, we'll outline activities that we'd like to support our tribal partners with and look at more opportunities to work together in the future. And then we'll tie everyone in once we have a better idea of what that looks like. Right now, we're just kind of in the initial planning stages. So that's where we're at with that, but just wanted to let you know. And I think that's all we have for major updates right now, unless anyone has any questions or concerns.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. And I made a mistake. You're sticking with state service. It's Faith that is leaving us, correct?
Yes, Faith Beekman and Christina Turner are leaving state service,
Okay.
unfortunately.
It's a huge loss to the state. So
It is. We're very sad.
any questions for Emily? Okay, we'll check did Clifford come back on? See him there. Okay, we'll come back and see if Clifford comes on a little later on. We'll move to item number 9 now. This is update from the Nevada Indian Commission, discussion only. And instead of Director Montooth, we're gonna have Serena Nez give this update. Serena?
Morning, everyone. Thank you. Glad everyone made it safely to their destinations. It's still a chilling one out there here in Carson. I don't know where you guys are. So the Nevada Indian Commission doesn't have much of an update other than I did submit our updated tribal leadership contact list. I don't know if that made that to the materials. If anyone needs it, please let me know and I'll get it to you. It should also be on our website. But we did have some changes on that. I believe it was Lovelock that just had their election, so they did change leadership, as did Duckwater. And so those changes are noted on the tribal contact list. So if you have any questions, please let me know. As far as this morning, I have not received any notifications of anywhere that is having any major issues with the snow that we received over the weekend. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, ma'am. And that list I don't believe we received in time in order to put it with the meeting minutes. But Shireen will make sure she gets it out to everyone on the committees that way, on the council, so they have it. Any questions for the Nevada Indian Commission?
This is Cliff Banuelos from Intertribal Council Nevada. I'm sorry, I'm juggling 2 meetings at the same time. I was told that you called on ITCN?
Yes, let me close this agenda item out real quick and then we'll jump to you, Clifford, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Nevada Indian Commission? Okay, hearing none, we'll move back to item number 8. This is update from Intertribal Council Nevada. And Clifford, love to hear what you got going on.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Wow, you guys are zooming along in the meeting. So ITCN, as I spoke about in a recent meeting, we're coordinating ArcGIS Pro training with Ezra, Bureau of Land Management assisting us on that. And I also received, or I'm looking at other funding from a nonprofit to support the tribes. And that relates to emergency management because I'm noticing when we have things like the post-disaster assessment teams come out, we really don't know the damage to a lot of the areas for the tribes because they aren't mapped. And so we'd like to get some of this GIS mapped. And so this would be a start to this because as many of you know in emergency management, if you look on a lot of maps for tribes, it's blank for certain sections. And so that's going to happen the last week of July going into the August 1st. So I believe it's July 29th to like August 2nd. That will happen at the ITCN convention. And then as part of that, coordinating with Mason and Josie from NTECC on ICS training. We want to see if we can do an ICS 300 class for people, a certified training class as part of the ITCN convention at the same time. We're also thinking if whether we can do something for leadership. I know that Emergency Management Institute has training for tribal leaders. That's like a half-day class. That'd be very helpful to so we can avoid some of the issues that came up during COVID regarding how ICS works, why we're following a certain structure, why we're trying to speak a common language through NIMS. And I think that will help tribal leaders understand there's a reason for the process. And then just an FYI, they're not going to be in a meeting. That's the other meeting I'm juggling here. ITCN is coordinating with area tribes on priority landscape fire fuel management that Forest Service is doing. And so we visited the Ruby Mountains and tried to identify areas working with the tribes, and we're going to follow up on that. And the same goes for Bureau of Land Management too, hopefully, where we're going to coordinate with the tribes, ITCN being the facilitator, hopefully, for meetings, so we can get tribes going on some of this fire fuel mitigation type activities. And I think that's it for my report.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Any questions of ITCN? Okay, hearing none, we'll drop to item number 10 on the agenda, Nevada Public Bodies Update. This is discussion only, and we'll start with the Nevada Resilience Advisory Committee. And as we've said in the past, I try to keep the agendas between these two committees very similar. Only difference might be is the difference in some grant opportunity between the two different the groups. So most everything that's on the agenda today is the same stuff we talked about at the last Interact meeting. We'll go to Nevada Commission on Homeland Security, and Harriet, do you want to talk about that, or would you like me to?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, if you can take that over. I was actually at the Southern Nevada Healthcare Preparedness Coalition Conference, so I missed that meeting. So if you can help with that, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So we did have a Homeland Security Commission meeting last quarter between the NTECC meetings, this one and our previous one. And at that one, we talked about, we kind of did a wrap up of some Southern Nevada major events that had occurred and had Clark County present about Formula One along with the Hurricane Hillary response that they went through down there. And nothing major came out of the meeting. It was a fairly short meeting and just some discussion points on different items. That body, both NRAC and Homeland Security Commission, both have annual reports that were due and submitted to the governor and the Legislative Council Bureau last week on what actions those two committees did take. Moved to the Homeland Security Finance Committee, and that committee has not met since our last meeting. And we'll move to the State Emergency Response Commission, CERC. Lance, are you on, sir?
I am. Good morning, Lance Chandler for the record. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend our first quarter CERC meeting last month. So the only update I have is grant season's about to open for CERC. It'll open in March and April. So work with your local LEPCs and get some of your wish list to your LEPC so that you can receive some CERC dollars. End of report.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And the Nevada Interstate Mutual Aid Committee has not met between last meeting and this meeting, so we won't hear a report from them. Any questions on any of these different committees or anything for Lance or Harriet? Ross, are you talking to us or? Ross, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. I'm sorry. I thought I unmuted. Had a good speech too. Anyways, the tribe's always been taking part of our local emergency planning commission, and there's a few things that we've mentioned in our last meeting is there's not a spot, the state requires for cybersecurity, and that's starting to be a big issue anymore. So something to look at. And also for public publication, we no longer have a newspaper to do any public publication. I'm just curious how the state's going to handle that. We just publicize in some other community to meet our requirements for the annual CERC. And what else do they have here? I think that was about it. I think CERC needs to look at it at their criteria and what they ask of the counties. I think it needs to be reviewed. It's been a long time since it has been. And I don't even know who's on the CERC committee anymore. So that was it.
Okay. Lance, are you still there? We'll get that feedback about the posting and online. There's Lance.
I'm still here. I can work with CERC staff and get the answers for you, Ross, and have them contact you of what publication would be best for you to use.
I think our county's fine with things right now. I think they got everything wrapped up. I just wanted to mention things. I don't need to be answered. Okay. Other than I wouldn't mind a list of the members of the CERC.
Okay, I can provide that to you, or you can just log on to the CERC website and there's a updated membership list on that as well.
Okay, and another thing I forgot to mention is a state public official to represent the CERC. White Pine County doesn't have any. I think some other small counties don't. But that is also one of the requirements to have on your CERC committee. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Lance. And Ross, in your first part with cybersecurity, the state does have cybersecurity professionals. It's the Office of Cyber Defense Coordination, and they are part of the Department of Public Safety. And we've had them at this meeting before. They would be the ones to help guide you with any cybersecurity issues. They were out there at the DEM's regional workshop, and Keen Patel did a presentation. So if you don't have his contact, we can connect you with them. Also, we have on the federal level, we have CISA, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Administration, and they're actually right now working with the Pyramid Lake Tribe and Josie on some cybersecurity efforts, because there is a special grant for cybersecurity for the tribal nations that allows you to go directly to the federal government and get some financial assistance with some of your efforts.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. I was just talking about the membership requirements CERC requires. I was thinking that maybe that's something that should be added.
Not a bad idea. Okay, any other discussion on the public bodies updates? Okay, we'll move to item number 11. This is update from the Federal Emergency Management Agency Region 9, and Chris Haynes, the lead integration team member for Nevada, can provide us an update on FEMA Region 9 all hazard activities, not coming events.
Thank you, Chief. Chris Haynes, FEMA integration lead for the state. Before I state anything, I'd like to ask if Vincent Martinez or Pamela Joe are on from Region 9 for any brief outs.
Yeah, this is Vince Martinez, tribal liaison assigned to Arizona, and I am on the call here.
Thank you, Vince. You have anything to report for Region 9?
I do not have anything to report. I would just like to say, though, that now that our regional tribal liaison in Nevada is no longer there, I'm here to actually fill and provide support to any tribal issues that need federal support. And assist the state in any possible way I can. Please reach out if you need any assistance or support. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. I will mention that Region 9 had posted the emergency management specialist Nevada's tribal L&O position last week. Unfortunately, due to administrative error, the posting was recalled. That will be edited and reposted as soon as possible, and we will share that with DEM once it's posted. As mentioned, Vince Martinez, until that position is filled, is current POC. I also will mention that there have been updates to the declaration and IA, internal, I want to say internal affairs, individual assistance process. And as soon as trainings and more information comes out, we'll be sure to share that with tribal L&O to the state and make sure that's forwarded on. That's all I have to report. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And one item along this agenda item, when Crystal left and went to Bureau of Indian Affairs, Christine, the supervisor of the Region 9 tribal liaison officers, and I had a discussion. I asked her not to have the California or Arizona tribal liaison come over and do in-person visits unless they took one of the state tribal liaisons, Josie or Mason, with them. I want to make sure that we manage expectations and we don't have somebody from another state coming over making a couple of promises and then through their workload back at home and then the transition to a new employee that we dropped the ball on something. So I have asked if they do make in-person visits that they take along Josie or Mason with them. So we can make sure that we provide those services and get everything wrapped up. We don't drop the ball on anything for you. Obviously, it's your tribe and you can do what you like. I can just make the request of FEMA that we get it, make sure we take care of you as well. But feel free to reach out to Chris Haynes or any of the tribal liaisons at FEMA. But I'd encourage you highly to use Josie and Mason as your primary points of contacts. That way we can make sure we're helping you right. Any questions for Chris or the FEMA tribal liaisons? Okay, we'll move on to item number 12. And this is updates from the DEM tribal liaison staff. Josie is out this morning, so we'll be hearing from Mason.
Good morning, Chief, and everyone here. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Mason Perzo for the record. We have a few items, but I think it's coming in last. We touched on a lot. I wanted to speak on the Rural Preparedness Summit. We do also have NEPA coming up. I know we have some guest speakers that Josie and I have coordinated. We'll be working and coordinating with you to make sure that travel is all prepared for and taken care of. On Josie's side of things, the SIM cards, we're working on getting some new quotes for those. So they're a little slow on the purchasing side of things, but once they are received, we will be coordinating, distributing them out again as well. The cybersecurity grant, as Chief said, the tribal one is going to be coming out soon, and hopefully we will be able to push out more information on that. Again, it is something that is really, really exciting for the tribes because it can help with a lot of different things. It isn't maybe necessarily as specific as you might think. So Amanda Jackson is a great resource on that. Again, just to reiterate that. We've been doing site visits throughout the last couple months. Ross, just a little side note, the other thing you wanted to speak on maybe was a updated list of deployable assets for each county through some sort of a online distribution list, if just as a reminder. On the other side of things, we are looking at coordinating and helping mitigation and reviewing a lot of the mitigation plans for the tribes so that everyone can hopefully, in the next couple of years, be able to apply for their BRIC grants. And beyond that, we're assisting with the mapping with Cliff, and hopefully we can start getting some good progress on that as well. Beyond that, we will just keep coordinating and coming out to see everyone. I think that's the end of the report for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mason. Any questions for Mason? Mrs. Vegas.
Good morning, sir. Mason, I was just curious, and I'm not sure if you have this information or not, but regarding the black box, the communication boxes, I have a quick start guide and procedure manual. I do not see a date on it. Do you know if there's any possible update for this? are you guys working on an update? And then just quickly, my second question is, in 2021, we did a tribal communications drill exercise plan. And I'm wondering if there is another plan to do another one of those. I don't believe we've done one since 2021, probably due to COVID, but I was wondering if you have any ideas on those two items. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Harriet. Those black boxes will be an ongoing thing. They always seem to crop up. I still have to come down and pick up yours from Vegas area. They're going to be collected and retrofitted and updated for a more appropriate response for every tribal nation, because a lot of the stuff is needing update. So I'll be working with you on that specifically. As for the plan, I would have to dig into the details more thoroughly, but I just speaking right now, I see if whatever deciding members were a part of that first plan, if there was a request to do another one, I would have to speak to my superiors, but I don't see an issue with that at all. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, sir. And I forgot to ask, should we get an inventory to you guys in preparation of that possible meeting? I don't know that we've done an inventory, at least our tribe hasn't done an inventory in quite a while. Should we get to work on that maybe in preparation for what's coming next?
If you could, that would be amazing. We've picked up a few black boxes over the central part of the state so far. If you don't have all the items or are unable to find them, that's okay. We're just mostly looking for what you have left.
Copy, thank you.
Any additional questions for Mason? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 13. Lucky number 13, of course, in the state of Nevada, in the gambling state we are. To grant status reports with Sue's Coyote.
Good morning. The grant status report is attached in the meeting materials. All grant programs with open subawards are listed in the report. It shows the subrecipient agency, project, original award amount, reobligated funds received, amount spent as of the last report, the funding stream or grant, any deobligated amount, and the percentage of awards spent as of the last report received. The federal reporting narratives for Homeland Security Grant Program and Nonprofit Security Grant Program are attached as well, which provides program updates for those programs as of 9/30/2023. The late reporting as of 9/30/2023 is included with this agenda item as well. DEM grant staff is working with the sub-grantees, the few that are remaining that are late on their reporting, to bring their reporting up to date. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this report.
Any questions for Susan? Just as a reminder that next year, or not next year, I guess we're already in next year. This year, the Homeland Security grant process will be 100% competitive. There'll be no free rides for recurring grants. So everyone that was seeking grant funds from Homeland Security, whether it's within the UASI in Clark County or it's the state Homeland Security grant program, everyone will have to present to NRAC and the UAG, the NRAC version for Clark County, to get approval to move forward in those grant process requests. And that grant status report, while it's long and lengthy, it's a great place to look for ideas. You can see what everyone else in the state's doing with some of their money, and maybe you don't have the money for it yet, but gives you a grant idea that you're going to look for, or might give you an idea for something you can do with existing funds. It's neat to see what everyone else in the state within our enterprise is working on. So thank you, Suze. Okay, we'll move to item number 14 now. This is going to be a little more lengthy presentation discussion. This is Northern and Southern Centers for Independent Living. Heather Lafferty, our Access Functional Needs Coordinator, will introduce members of a contract team supporting Northern and Southern Centers for Independent Living, developing a disability-focused resource for Nevadans with disabilities. We heard this at NRAC, and one of the things we want to do is we wanted to bring it to NTECC, so that way they could talk about the awesome work that they're doing through a grant that they received for their nonprofit to produce a website to help those in the disability community find better avenues to become prepared for disasters. And we wanted to make sure we reached out to rural and tribal nations to get your ideas on this. This is not a state mandate to do. It's not a state unfunded mandate. This is funded by a grant program to a nonprofit, and they were fortunate enough to hook up with Heather and make that connection to bring it to us and show us what they're working on and seek our advice and counsel to help make their program better. So I'll turn it over to Heather. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. And thank you again for allowing us on the agenda to bring this project before everybody today. One of my favorite parts of my role, and one of my primary roles as Access and Functional Needs Coordinator, is to really look for those community projects where the community themselves are trying to close these gaps, because we often see communities know best what they need and the way that it needs to be done. But what they might lack are the awareness, the platform to bring awareness to the project, or resources. And I have that platform. And so I really appreciate you allowing us on here today. If you're not familiar, real quick, with the Centers for Independent Living, that's okay. But I did want to briefly just kind of highlight their importance, not just to me, but to the nation. So when I was 23 and pregnant with my first daughter, my first child, my daughter, my family received a diagnosis of Down syndrome. And one of the things I immediately thought with that diagnosis was, this is a blessing, because we were in 2002. And even if we had been as late as 1985, in many states across the country, if I had received that diagnosis with my daughter, as soon as she was born, she would have been forcibly taken from me and institutionalized. So with the work and advocacy of the Centers for Independent Living, hundreds of thousands of our elders, our individuals with disabilities, have been allowed to live in their communities and thrive. My daughter in particular got to go to public school, was in Girl Scouts and dance. And she's still she's interning right now with us at DEM. So she's living a very thriving and wonderful life. And much of that is because of the work of the nonprofit for the Centers for Independent Living have done nationally. So I'm very excited to let them introduce themselves to kind of explain this preparedness project. And hopefully, if you have the capacity, you can participate. And if not, you'll at least know this resource is going to be out there for you when it's all completed. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Shelley and Jackie.
Thank you, Heather. I'm Jackie Shelton and my associate, Shelley Murock, and we are contractors with the Northern Nevada Center for Independent Living. As Heather mentioned, we received a grant for public information. And so we have a whole presentation that we want to do with that. We're very open to questions today, and we are looking for your input. So is it possible for me, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So as Heather mentioned, the goal with this is it's statewide, prevent, prepare, respond. We are working on educating older adults and people with disabilities on how they can protect themselves in the event of public emergencies. So these are earthquakes, floods, fire, pandemic, terrorism, things like that. Our target markets to our target audiences in order to achieve this. Obviously, we're reaching out to government agencies across the state, health and human services agencies, because we want to make sure that we're hitting as many people as possible who have disabilities or who are older. And then this obviously older adults, people with disabilities, and their caregivers. This is just a general list of the types of disabilities. So in addition to, like Heather mentioned, Down syndrome, we're looking at mental, emotional, mobility issues, people in wheelchairs, people who are blind, who use canes, people who use service animals, and then age-related, which obviously comes in a lot of these different areas, but also including like dementia. These are the different emergency categories I talked about. They're obviously different from Northern Nevada to Southern Nevada, different priorities. So we want to make sure that we are being specific to each area of the state. So we've been doing a lot of research throughout the state, visiting different areas. What we found so far in our research is the primary message is that we're all responsible for ourselves first, and that also aligns with CIL. CIL's goal is for people to live as independently as possible and as independently as they want to, which means taking control of your own life. Obviously, not everybody, we're not asking people to do it themselves, so we're asking them to just be the first responder. So our message is, what's your plan? Where's your bag? Who's your buddy? Because you're a lot more able to take care of yourself if you know what to do and if you're prepared. And one of the other things we're trying to do with this is by helping people prepare for an emergency, it helps release some of the fear. Hopefully they don't ever have an emergency like this, but in the meantime, we don't want them laying awake at night worried about what happens if they're in a third floor apartment blind and there's a fire. So our tools that we're using for this, as Heather mentioned, we're working on a robust website that will live on the NNCIL website, but it will be statewide, cover every county in the state, cover different disabilities, cover different emergencies. We know that the priorities in Churchill are different than the priorities in Incline Village or in Clark County. And so the website will address all of those. As well, it will be mobile friendly since most people are getting their information on their tablets. In addition to that, we're going to do a series of short videos. We're going to be interviewing people with disabilities who've experienced emergencies so we can hear from them what it's like to be in an earthquake and, be in an earthquake and in a wheelchair and how they got through that. In addition to sharing information, we're also, again, giving people the hope and the optimism that they're going to be fine through this. We're obviously going to want to also interview first responders throughout the state. Heather has been great about helping us meet a lot of you. We also have meetings set up with your PIOs so that we can be working with different people throughout the state. We want to make sure that we're representing as many of the counties as possible to make sure that this feels statewide, that this is not just Reno and Las Vegas. And obviously the website and the videos will all be accessible to people with different disabilities. And this is the big one that we're working on now. We want to talk to as many of our partner agencies as possible to make sure that we're giving accurate information, absolutely, but also, again, specific information, all the things that you know that we don't know yet. And then once we get all this done, once we get the website done and the videos, we're going to be doing outreach to work with you to help get the word out to our audiences. So people throughout the state understand that this resource is available to them. And the goal with this resource, again, is to help them be prepared. We're not anticipating, oh, it's a fire, I'm going to go log on this website and see what I'm supposed to do in a fire. We want them to know that ahead of time and to be prepared ahead of time. We also understand there's a lot of areas and a lot of people in our state who do not have access to the internet, or they don't have access to high-speed internet. So we're preparing a series of emergency training curriculum that we'd want to work with on you, and then going out to senior centers and housing divisions in different places that make sense throughout the state to share this information people to people, not just through the computer. Part of the website will be a downloadable emergency plan that they can prepare for their own home and their own people in their own situation, as well as a go bag list that they can consider. We know we need food and water, but we also might need food for our service dog. We might need to make sure that we need a charger for our devices. Different things like that. People need different things. And again, it's so that they know this ahead of time, so that when they get to the evacuation center, they're prepared with what they need, which helps take some of the pressure off of the people at the evacuation center who are trying to take care of hundreds of people not just people with disabilities and older adults. We are also, as I mentioned, we're going to be working with PIOs throughout the state to do public relations. We want to get the word out to media as much as possible and to drive as many people as possible back to this site and we might be asking if you, I understand a lot of your agencies do outreach already. So we might be wanting to partner with you as well, because obviously you know your community a lot better than we do. Lastly, we'll be able to create a website page that you can put on your own websites that say, if you're a person with a disability and you need specific information, click here, and it will just take you back to the website. So you don't have to provide any of that information separately. We'll be able to have it all in one location. So what we're doing right now is we're doing a lot of research, but we're also doing focus groups. We want to meet with people with disabilities, older adults, and we want to represent the diversity and demographics of our state. And so we want to make sure that we're talking to all different kinds of people, different ages, different ethnicities, different genders, to make sure, because obviously everybody has different concerns that we're not aware of yet. And so we have a focus group set up for this Wednesday and next Tuesday, but I would love to do one specific to the tribes if possible, and we can do it on Zoom. And we do pay all of our participants to participate in that. And then after, one of the things we'll be doing with those focus groups is we'll be finding people that we can interview for the videos. So they'll get paid again to participate in the videos. And we're also identifying people who can help with testing after we're done to go. Before we release a website, we want to have it vigorously tested by people with disabilities to make sure that that's just not just a talking point. We want to make sure that we are absolutely accessible. So those are that's the big picture. I know I talked really fast. I would love to hear your questions and comments.
Awesome, thank you, ma'am. So, council members.
Hey, Jackie, this Dan Thayer. What's your website address?
Well, the website's not up yet, but our current site is nncil.org. That's the Northern Nevada Center for Independent Living. And then this site that we're working on would be housed inside that site. But we would have another URL. We actually bought getreadynv.org and bereadynv.org that we would use, because that's obviously easier than nncil.org, but it would drive back to our website.
Okay, we have a lot of different programs here within Reno Sparks. If I set up a presentation, are you willing to do a presentation such as this?
Absolutely. We would love that. Thank you.
Okay, I will be getting hold of you then.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do have a couple of spots available on both of the focus groups. The one this Wednesday and the one next Tuesday. We're trying to limit it to 10 people to make sure everybody has a chance to talk. But if you know anybody with a disability, any age, 18 and up, and then any older adults who might want to participate in that, please let me know. And it is going to be hybrid. We have people in person and on Zoom.
Great work. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions from the council members? We thought this was pretty important because we looked at the healthcare deserts that we have in rural Nevada and trying to keep people in their homes. That way you have the choice to make your own decisions on how you live is really important. So this really spoke to all of us about a really good program that's being put together on how to be able to do that, even in threats of emergency. So I want to make sure that we get rural Nevada and tribal nations, represented on this group. And it's that way your feedback can be incorporated in their website development, because everyone's got something a little different, whether you're living in Ely or whether you're living in Biamba or if you're in downtown Las Vegas. All those have different impacts to how you're going to survive on your own. Okay, hearing no other comments or questions. Heather, you got anything to say to summarize anything?
Thank you, Chief. And we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us on the agenda. And you can reach out to me or Jackie, and I can get you in touch with Jackie if you can't find any of the information. But again, thank you so much. Thanks, Chief.
Awesome. Thank you all. Okay, we'll go to item number 15. This is closing public comment, discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under the item of this agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. To provide testimony during the period of public comment via telephone, please call in any time after 8:30 a.m. on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press the hashtag or pound symbol. When prompted for a participant ID number, please again press hashtag or pound. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. We know that YouTube's a little behind us, so I'll see again if there's any public comment here in Carson City. Any public comment in Zoom world?
This is Ross Rivera again.
Go ahead, Ross.
Hey, I forgot to mention earlier, and Mason kind of reminded me at the end of his deployable assets. I know we spoke about this in Elko, and the format everybody sends them in. I heard the state has an issue trying to gather all that information, and I mentioned it in Elko that why does not the state have a form and have each county or partnership fill that asset list in your format, which would be easier for you to download and archive. Plus, I know in our county, and I've been trying to explain it to them, a good explanation what you're looking for. You know, I know that our county in the past has put in their whole inventory, and I know that's not what you want. So a deployable asset and what you're looking for, and I think to be better define that and have a form that you guys create that we could turn back into you, I think would be a great help to everybody. Thank you.
Good idea, Ross, and see Bill taking some notes to talk to Eric Wilson. That's Eric Wilson's responsibility. So Bill will get that to Eric to do. I know this has been a journey for quite a long time. I remember in Douglas, the state actually hired a contractor to come down and do all that work for us. And that contractor kind of fell through and only did some communities, not all communities. And it's all stored in WebEOC, but making sure that we actually track, like you said, we don't want to know every widget you got, but there are probably some certain widgets that we need to know you got in case we need to borrow them or ask to borrow them through the mutual aid system. And another great little tie there to remind everyone that mutual aid in Nevada is covered under NRS 414A, and all the local governments are all parties to that agreement automatically and have to opt out, which none have, but tribal nations have to opt in by tribal resolution. So would love if anybody would like to be part of the mutual aid system in the state of Nevada, have that discussion with Mason and Josie so we can get you an example of a resolution from another tribal nation. So that way we can add to that list. There's no obligation. I actually feel like I'm trying to sell something there all of a sudden. I'm a commercial for lawyers on TV. I'm not a paid spokesman though. There's no obligation for you to, once you're signed up, but it does provide you an opportunity to get some mutual aid, or like Pyramid Lake, where we actually hired them to go out and help us on mobile vaccines and brought an ambulance with us. So provides a revenue stream for you as well during an incident. Any further? Go ahead, Ross.
Yeah, this is Ross again. Also, just to remind everybody, the tribal partners, the reason for them to have to opt in, because the Nevada government cannot make them automatic because of their own governments, and it's not because we left them out. I was part of that Nevada Fire Chiefs discussion on this mutual aid, and just to let everybody know that the reason they have to opt in. It wasn't we was trying to ignore them or anything. It was legality on what, Nevada NRS can do and what the tribal government does. So just a reminder.
No, great point, Ross. It's in there to protect your sovereign abilities and for us not to mandate something for you that goes against all of our beliefs. Okay, any other additional comments in Zoom world? Or if you're on YouTube, I think you've probably caught up with us now. So if you're on the phone, remember to *6 to unmute your phone if you have any public comment. Okay, hearing no further public comment, I'll close item number 15. We'll move to item number 16. This is adjournment for discussion and possible action. I'd like to have a motion from someone that would like to leave the meeting. Or if you'd like to stay forever, we don't have to adjourn.
Ken Quiner, motion to adjourn.
Okay, I have a first from Ken. Do I have a second from Ross?
This is Don Pell from Pyramid Lake. I second.
Okay, second from Don Pelt. Any discussion? Everyone that wants to go home, say aye.
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 Anybody wants to stay in the Zoom meeting for the rest of your life, say no. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very